Hello from rather regal surroundings here at Blenheim Palace in Oxfordshire. We've come to one of the finest royal estates in the country for an annual event that kicks off the swim bike run season in true style. Yes, welcome to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Research Blenheim Palace Triathlon. Blenheim was the birthplace of that most famous of British bulldogs, Sir Winston Churchill, and I think that he would have approved wholeheartedly of the endeavour we will witness from 7,000 competitors here this weekend, with a ton of money raised for good causes, thousands of triathlon first-timers pushing themselves beyond what they thought possible, and a top-flight elite competition. Over the next 2 days, we are sure to see the very best of British.
Everyone battling for position in the water. This is a crucial stage of the race. T2. Great leg speed shown by the youngster at the front.
At Blenheim Palace Triathlon, that's the start of the British Triathlon Super Series. You know about triathlons, don't you? This is Annie Emerson, obviously triathlete extraordinaire. Tell me about this one, okay? What's so exciting? How many people take part?
Well, look, 7,000 people over the weekend, which is huge. It makes it the second largest triathlon in the country. The races are spread over 2 days, so 38 waves go off, and they're spread over super sprint and the sprint distance.
What's the course like here?
Well, the swim is really nice. It's a nice, very straightforward swim for the sprint distance, which is 750 metres. Goes straight out and then slips back in, and they come out at a different place to where they started. They've got a really steep bank to run up, and that's really difficult because you come out and you're kind of blowing because you've had your head down in the water, and that's a place where it's quite interesting to see how people are coping, or suffering rather. And then the bike is really nice. It's undulating and tough and quite technical. And the run is really straightforward, and the scenery is stunning.
From a celeb point of view, have we got anyone interesting to look out for?
Yeah, definitely. There's 3 Formula One teams, which obviously we'll see a lot more of, and that's going to be really exciting. Holby City stars as well. We've got 3 actors from the series.
There's a lot of first-timers as well, aren't there?
Yeah, there certainly are. I think over 50% are first-timers here, and you know, it's just such a beautiful place. I think it's no surprise that they choose this as their first race.
Now, whether you're a seasoned campaigner with all the latest triathlon gadgets or you're a first-timer on a mountain bike, one thing you will all have in common is that you will only complete this course once over the weekend. Well, that's not strictly true if you're a weekend warrior. This is a group of 20 hardy athletes, and what they're wanting to do is complete the course as many times as is feasibly possible over the 2 days. So they start bright and early on the Saturday morning, and then once they've completed the course, they'll go again and again and again and again. Here's your commentator, Patrick Winterton, with all the details.
Now, you have to respect these first athletes in the water. They've decided to do the multiple triathlons, and who knows how many they might complete over the course of the weekend. Swim, bike, run, it will go on and on. The hardest bit may be getting into the wetsuit after the first run when it's damp and sticky. Now, some of the seasoned warriors will be looking to complete 6, 7 or even 8 triathlons this weekend. Others have no idea whether they'll finish one at all.
16 to 18 months ago I couldn't swim, so yeah, this is a big thing for me. I've only ever done 3 triathlons before, so trying to attempt 3 in one day is going to be quite a feat for me. I didn't quite realise the extent of a weekend warrior. I thought that, you know, you could just do one day, one the next day, and it was only later I realised that it was actually probably a bit more intense than that.
Well, once again, this triathlon is a complete sellout. Over 7,000 people competing today, and a really impressive number of first-timers. And amongst their number, the editor-in-chief of Elle magazine is trying her first triathlon.
We're competent and we feel comfortable doing it, and that is actually quite easy to do. I know that sounds mad, but it is actually quite easy to do that. So,
but it's nice to participate in something like this. You don't have to be an elite to enjoy it.
No, and also Blenheim's really beautiful, and I have to say there's a real fantastic group effort aspect of triathlon, which I think is really brilliant, and I think it's a brilliant sport for women as well, and also it keeps you active, keeps you entertained.
Well, there she is with the orange cap, so we'll be able to pick her out as she makes her way over the 750-metre course in the Great Lake. And this is the part of the course that so many of the athletes fear. The close quarter swimming just takes a little practice. The weekend warriors, on the other hand, most of them in this for the first time. Here's the youngest of them all, Nick Elveridge. Good luck to him on his way round the course. And a 40-year-old architect, Adrian Fowler. He is going for big numbers today.
For me, it's part of training for the year. I enjoy it as doing just part of triathlon, and it's a beautiful place to come. I love the event. I did it last year, really enjoyed it, and just thought I'd come back and have another go at it.
The Warriors making their way through T1 for the first time.
The atmosphere down there is absolutely brilliant. Everyone, the weekend warriors especially, they're so supportive, and you know, there's so many people who are doing this for the first time as well, so hats off to everybody, it's brilliant.
Lorraine Candy out of the water for the first and last time. Colin Dutkovitz, on the other hand, is planning to do many swims more than that. Last time he was here was for his granddad's 100th birthday.
4 hopefully. I'm not sure I can make 5, but 4 should be a good job.
The Warriors now into transition number 2 for the first time. And here comes Adrian Fowler. He managed 8 full triathlons last year. Can he do the same? Can he better that this year? Some say 9 is impossible. Anyone who does it will impress the first Duke of Marlborough, who stands aloft on the column of victory. Good steady pace. Lorraine Candy, the bike and the swim completed. Now the final phase, making her way back up towards the palace, and still with a big smile on her face. Save something for the finish. Well, these two have certainly done that. Good effort.
The views are insane. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
It was great, it's beautiful here. It was amazing, definitely back next year.
Should have done a bit more training because there's lots of hills, but no, it was difficult, but it's a great atmosphere. Feeling at the end in any triathlon is just, you can't beat it.
Her first triathlon completed. Well done, Lorraine Candy.
Absolutely brilliant fun. So I am proof that even if you're not athletic and you can't swim very well, you can do something like this, which is just a brilliant thing to do on a Saturday.
Weekend warriors coming through the finish again. Fowler, who's aiming for 4. Hatcher, who's aiming to complete 2 on day 1.
Oh no, straight round again.
Well, these 2 days of triathlon are now well underway. From the weekend warriors who will be testing out their endurance to the max, it's almost time for the elites who will be providing the speed. The women's race coming up very, very soon. Welcome back to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Research Blenheim Palace Triathlon. Now, the elite race here gives us a chance to catch a glimpse of some truly world-class competitors as they sprint past. And because it's the first round in the British Triathlon Super Series, we're in for some pretty intense competition. The women are up first, and it's fair to say that last year's reigning champion faces some determined opposition.
Emma, you come here as the reigning champion. Does that put a bit more pressure on you?
Yeah, I think obviously you kind of, when you've won it once before, you obviously don't want to look like you're taking a step back, but the quality in the races are always different every year, so I just give it my best and yeah, enjoy it.
Her main rival could be the junior national champion from 2014, who was 3rd in this event last year.
I worked out, it's my 6th year doing Blenheim, so I definitely know the course well, so hopefully it'll be okay.
What are the best parts about this course?
I think just The fact that you're racing at Blenheim's obviously quite good. The crowd's always good here, and the course is just, you know, it's quite exciting. The bike's interesting, so it's just a nice event to do.
Also, watch out for India Lee. Both her coaches, Nick Anderson and Richard Stannard, are saying she is on form.
Indy, well, you've had a really exciting year so far because you've qualified for the test event in Rio. So you're coming into this race as a bit of a favourite. How does that make you feel?
It's a bit different to previous years because usually this would be my first race of the season. But I'm feeling good. Yeah, I've been racing well, so I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do today.
And so the women's elite race is underway here at Blenheim. And this is always a fascinating contest. There'll be lots of rivalry in the water. Hannah Kitchen will be quick. I wouldn't be surprised if she led this one from start to finish. Watch out for Sophie Caldwell as well, a very good swimmer, and Kimberly Bell. But India Lee says she's been working on the swimming. We'll find out how much and how effective that's been.
I put a lot of work into it over the winter because I knew I had to. And so far this year, I think I've shown that I've improved, and it's put me in a better position later on in races.
So the leaders out of the water, and Sophie Caldwell up in that leading three.
Hurts every year, it never gets easier. Yeah, I mean, it's all just part of the transition, and they say transition to the fourth discipline, so you have to just attack it as you would the swim or the bike or the run, really.
So into the transition, and Sophie Caldwell chasing Hannah Kitchen, who is the race leader after that first leg. A good swimming time from Kitchen, 9:56. Remember, for the 750 metres, that's an excellent time from her. Caldwell gaining on the climb, and it really is a tough climb. Most of the blood in the arms and the lungs at this stage, and you've got to get it back down into the legs. Caldwell flying up the hill. Well, she knows how important it is to get out on the bike early. She could find herself on her own at this rate. Drafting allowed in this race. And that transition goes on. It's beautifully laid out. It is unique in the terms of the length of the transition, and India Lee is not far behind Sophie Caldwell. My goodness, that swim training has paid off. Richard Stannard obviously doing his bit as her technical coach in the swimming. That's very exciting news for India Lee and bodes well for the whole of the 2015 season. Caldwell won't know about Lee's progress so far, but she may well find out on the bike ride. Now, T1, perhaps not as important as T2, but it's essential that you come out close enough to the first riders to be able to get in touch with them. And the earlier, the better. Off with the suit. Notice they all take the top of the suit off early on. If you don't, it's almost mission impossible by the time you get to the top of the run. There goes India Lee. Natalie Milne multitasking as she goes through the first transition. Caldwell already onto the bike over the white line that you can see in the background. Vital that you do not mount the bike before that line. 20 kilometres to go on the two wheels then for Sophie Caldwell, and it's a technical ride, lots of hills as well, but it will suit those who are good at bike handling. Now, this is a sorry sight. Emma Pallant having a look at her swim time, 3 minutes behind the leaders.
Yeah, it's not well.
Well, she's not happy. The defending champion is out, and we will see a new name on the trophy at the end of this race, with Emma Pallant now out. So Caldwell leads at the moment. India Lee, sensational. That is a great turnaround from last year's racing form, and all down to her performance in the water. Is that a sign of what we're going to see for the rest of the season? What an exciting athlete, actually ushered to the youth start. She looks so young, but she is actually 27. Nice shot, the emergency fuel on the top of the crossbar. Little bit of damp on these Blenheim roads won't make life any easier. Caldwell leading Lee, and this is a course they all enjoy. India Lee full of confidence, through she goes to take the lead for the first time. Well, India Lee was to do her fair share of the work up the front of the field, and along with Caldwell, strong enough to hold off the chasing group. Milne, Sharp, Manners unable to cut that lead, Kitchen included. So a good battle for first and second, and an excellent battle going on for the final place on the podium right the way throughout the race. Well, Sophie Caldwell and India Lee coming into T2 together. Now, this is going to be interesting. Caldwell, who's been a triathlete since the age of 8. India Lee, who switched from running to triathlon back in 2013. So there's no doubt about who the specialist runner is around here. India Lee must be full of confidence at this stage. Will Caldwell have the guts to hang on in there? A good transition is the first thing she needs. And then, hopefully, she'll get into her running very quickly. Well, she's stolen a march on India Lee. That's a good move initially. No panic from India Lee. I think that's just a sign of how confident she is coming out of T2. And so the leading two women, I can't see them being bettered on the podium today. Both of them run sufficiently well to hold on to first or second position. And here is the chasing group now. Who's going to be strong enough for third? Kitchen is there, Milne, Sharp, Manners is there as well. Jenny Manners there, number 29. She'll enjoy being in the mix, but would have loved to have been up with Caldwell or Lee. $5,000 metres, and we're looking at a time of around 18 minutes. Again, undulating course. And no real move from India Lee so far, but she has gone ahead of Caldwell. And remember, Caldwell had a 20-25 metre advantage coming out of the transition. So maybe India Lee just winding it up slowly. She's a strong runner. And India Lee from Winchester, who was 8th here in 2013, is going to certainly take the top spot this time round. Excellent running, perfect pacing. Well, there was nothing that Sophie Caldwell could do about India Lee. Milne and Manners, two impressive performances, but it was India Lee who stole the show, and certainly on this sort of form, she could be in the running for making the British squad for 2016 in Rio. That would be exciting times for her. Natalie Milne, accident, injury, illness have all troubled her over the last 12 months, but she seems to be coming back to form as well. And India Lee, a long, lonely run down the home straight to claim the title here in Blenheim. Is this her career taking off at last? Improve your swim and you will be competitive. Caldwell second place. And third, as she was last year, Natalie Milne.
India, that had to be the race of your career in terms of executing all three disciplines perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely. I swam really well today, which I'm really pleased about because I've been working so hard on it. And that just puts me in such a strong position on the bike. And so Sophie and I worked really hard on the bike and we stayed away, and then I knew I had a good run, so I just held it together, I guess.
I knew that once we'd gone that if we managed to work, then it probably wouldn't get caught. So I wasn't surprised that once we'd gone, we stayed away.
Natalie, well, that was a pretty good comeback race for you, having had injury and bike crashes and all sorts of things. Are you happy with that result?
Absolutely delighted. I didn't think I had that in me. Didn't have the best of swims, but we worked well together on the bike and I just ran as hard as I could.
Happy times on the podium. Suitably alcohol-free and very wet. Lee, Caldwell and Milne getting a soaking at Blenheim. Manners, Owen, Kitchen just off the podium in 4, 5 and 6. And the winning time, 1:07.57.
A breakthrough victory for India Lee there. The men's race is still to come, and with so many of Britain's brightest young stars on the start line, to be honest, it could be anyone's game. We're also going to be catching up with those unstoppable weekend warriors and meeting many more of the many thousands of people here for this wonderful weekend of triathlon. See you soon. Welcome back to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Research Blenheim Palace Triathlon. Now, the course here in Oxfordshire truly is a feast for the eye, what with the rolling landscape and architecturally some of the grandest old designs in the country. Surely that has to be part of the appeal to the thousands of spectators that come down here to watch the 2-day event, as well as all the enthusiasts taking part and, of course, the first-timers. And amongst them all, there are a few people to look out for.
There certainly are, and there are plenty of actors here, no doubt looking for a little bit of drama on the course today. Formula One are making an appearance. 3 teams have sent 9 athletes each, but the real heroes perhaps are the fundraisers, who've raised an astonishing £400,000.
A great deal of people taking part in the triathlon this weekend are doing it to raise money for good causes, and obviously one of the main causes here today is the Leukemia and Lymphoma Research Charity, which you guys are raising money for, and this is not your first time, is that right, Dan?
No, we started last year. A friend suggested, or when Scarlett was in hospital, she's under treatment, and he came up to us and said, you know, do you want to do the triathlon? I sort of couldn't really say no, and during the course of 6 months, another 22 guys sort of clubbed together and came to do the triathlon last year. And we decided to do it again this year, but instead of 22 of us, there's now 168.
Oh, fantastic. Now, are you all doing it, Brian? Are you taking part?
Really, this is all about the fundraising for me. So I thought if I said to people, well, previously I ran 26 miles and now I'm going to run 5K, they might not give me that much money. But if I said I'm going to dive into a freezing cold lake and swim, I thought that most people would think that was really worth giving some money for, and people have given incredibly generously, and it's just been amazing.
The Scarlet Dragons with a wave to themselves. Holby City also getting in on the act. David Ames, Don Gillet, John Mitchie, all racing.
I've run 5 marathons, but I've never done a triathlon, and I'm only doing the swimming bit, and that's freaking me out.
First time I've been on a bike ever. Got stabilised just to make sure I get the track. No, I've been on a spin bike, and I did the distance on a spin bike, but it's different. It's just going to be different. I've tried it on a razor blade bike when I'm riding today, and it's a different experience, but I think I'll be all right.
And you're doing the running part?
I'm doing the running part. I did a marathon about 3-4 years ago.
So you were expecting a strong finish then?
Absolutely.
With racing drivers like Jenson Button being keen multi-sport competitors, there's always been a strong link between Formula One and triathlon. In fact, Jenson has previously competed in this event. Well, in the midst of another motor racing season, 3 F1 teams have roared into Blenheim for a challenge of their own.
Mercedes, Red Bull, Force India. 3 Formula One teams, each entering 3 relay teams, so 27 athletes on the grid.
I've been training, so I'm doing several triathlons this season. Been training through the winter and last few weeks ramped the training up a little bit.
You F1 lot, gosh, you're super fit, aren't you?
Right, I wouldn't go that far.
You are. Well, I'll give you a tip over here. So Red Bull are very relaxed, and Force India say they're going to win.
Okay, that's confidence for you. We'll have to see.
Is there going to be some kind of like heckling going on today?
There's a lot of banter between the teams. So there's guys that we've worked with before, guys move around the teams, and so, we do know each other a bit.
Who's going to win?
Force India, 1, 2 and 3.
So how do you feel about Force India saying that they're absolutely going to win?
Generally, I would prefer not to say we're going to try and win. We'll see how we get on. I mean, the weather looks like it's drying up now, so it shouldn't be too bad on the bike, shouldn't be too slippery. Got a few fast swimmers in. I guess we're all driven by, there's that competitive edge. We all like to compete against each other and try to keep fit.
We've all got GPS, so the guys back at base know exactly where our entire team is at any one time. But all them chip, they don't know it, but we know where they are.
Well, I'm not sure that technology is going to be the key to success today. Dean Walsh, Matt Child coming in. Now it's the turn of the bikers. Enrico Cacciatori, he's the key for Force India. Red Bull are going to have to chase hard. Lots of rivalry amongst these three teams, and that is just what the event needs. Remember, 3 relay teams in each of the Formula One teams. Matt Story just finishing his swim. Mercedes on the back foot at the moment. Wave after wave still entering the water in the Great Lake. You might have picked out the white cap of John Mitchie, the actor from Holby City, formerly of course starred alongside Blythe Duff and Colin McCready in Taggart. We'll see how he gets on. He is only doing the swim. He's got experience as a marathon runner. That will not help in the water. Don Gillet may have a while to wait.
Wow, I'm feeling... Let's do it, come on!
Psyched up and ready to go. Here comes John Mitchie out of the water. The 750 metres complete. And then the long climb up to the transition area. How slick will the transition be?
Look! Look!
I'm alive! I didn't drown. What?
Oh my gosh, you made it! I got to. It's my turn!
Mate.
How does this work?
It's all over to you.
Bye! Bye! Bye!
Well, it wasn't the fastest. But Holby City still in the running. The Scarlet Dragons coming in one after the other. 168 of them, raising an amazing £200,000. £80,000 more than they managed last year. Off goes Gillet on the bike. And he will be chased by some pretty mean-looking athletes. And here comes Dan Clarkson, the founder, along, of course, with his wife, Bryony, of Scarlet's Dragons. And they really have set an example of how to raise funds. Huge enthusiasm. Well, they're not pushing the pace quite like the Formula One teams. I think these guys proving that you don't have to be a racing driver to be competitive. They're just involved in that world. Don Gillet isn't. He's on a Sunday stroll compared to the Red Bull guys. A delicate bit of encouragement from one Red Bull team to another, but there's no doubt that winning is the driving force. That's not the case with Dan Clarkson. He has other things on his mind as he works his way round Blenheim.
Starting to feel it.
Is it worth it though? I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
why?
Every time the wheels turn, it's another few pennies raised for Leukemia and Lymphoma research.
Go on, Enrico! Here.
Force India, their A-team, have excelled. Great leg from Enrico on the bike. Antonio Fisher now to try and wrap up the victory for Force India. Red Bull's B-team, John Buchanan has pushed the pace. Jeremy Vick now has a bit of running to do. Buchanan has left nothing in the tank today. Mercedes, for the first time this year, trailing. Well, it's going to have to be a very quick final lap from Mercedes if they're going to get in on the act. Red Bull's A team trailing the B team. Don Gillet, his day almost done. Well, again, a pretty shambolic transition compared to the Formula One teams, but David Ames is underway. 5,000 metres for him to run.
How's it going, right? Good. Going well so far, early in there. Long way to go.
Red Bull A still trailing, but putting in a strong finish. Force India, their B team with Dan Carpenter, head of mechanical engineering. David Ames of Holby City, the third part of the act, and running pretty well. Experience of a marathon, 5Ks should be no problem at all, unless he gets distracted. Now, don't forget the weekend warriors. They're trying to do as many sprint triathlons in the weekend as they possibly can.
You see, I think completing the circuit once is impressive enough, but this man has done it 4 times already. How are you feeling, Adrian?
I'm not bad. It was a pretty tiring day yesterday. There was a lot of rain. It continually rained all day. So felt a bit drained at the end of the day. Muscles feel okay today. Bit of rollering and stuff this morning, so I feel okay.
Scott, how are you feeling today?
Feel better than I thought I was going to feel. Had a massage last night and one this morning, so feel much better than I thought I was going to.
Adrian Fowler on his way down to the start now. The next wave are already in the water. He's going to have to rush a bit if he wants to get onto the back of this one. Adrian Fowler, remember, going for 8 triathlons. Victoria Hatcher, it looks as though she's going to complete 4, which is 1 more than she's done in her entire life.
I feel a little bit like the little mascot of the group because everyone else is pretty, they've done a lot. They've been so encouraging and so supportive of me. It's just great team atmosphere, it really is.
That was much better than yesterday. That felt lovely in there.
Managed to get round 3 yesterday, and anything like that would be good again today.
Well, the pace the Warriors maintaining, very, very impressive. And I guess they know the course better than anyone else by the end of the weekend. This is Dave Nichols, 49-year-old, who's trying to complete 50 races in his 50th year, and he's hoping to count 6 of those today. Jeff Broad completes another.
Felt absolutely fine, so loving it. One time for 1 more. One more.
Well, it's going to have to be a dash back down to the start.
See you next time.
To make the next wave. And it's a rare win for Force India as Antonio Fisher takes the checkered flag.
Team Force India, phenomenal racing. You've actually beaten the other 2 teams, Red Bull and Mercedes. That's got to be pretty cool, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a really good day, really great event. The guys on the swim and the bike did a fantastic job. So pretty much I was just being hunted by Mercedes for the full 5K, so it's pretty tough.
And Mercedes in the end having to settle for runners-up spot.
Congratulations, guys. A great team effort, but you couldn't beat Force India, could you?
No, they were just too good on the bike today. They got a good lead and I couldn't chase him down, unfortunately.
Disappointed not to win, because you are sort of like pretty major champions, on the Formula 1 circuit.
Well, we got to let them win something occasionally, I suppose.
So Force India with a memorable victory in the battle of the F1 teams. Let's hope next year it's in an off week for the championship and we'll see them going head to head again. And what about Scarlet's Dragons? One after the other, 168 of them. It's been the best team effort without a doubt.
Amazing venue, amazing setup, and just the crowd, just everybody out there supporting LLR and the funds to raise money, to beat blood cancer. That's what it's all about.
And a fabulous effort from the Holby City team as well.
It's always an amazing thing when everyone's kind of pushed to exhaustion, but you see this thing and them going, come on, and then you get people cheering them on, and it's quite a humbling experience.
I think you've done very well. You finished on target, you got your medals, and that's it. Amazing. Well done.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Well done, guys. Well done.
Whether it's a personal challenge to raise lots of money for a good cause or just to have some fun with your mates, every one of the 7,000 competitors here this weekend has their own reason for taking part. But for one group of people, well, they have one reason, and that is to win the title. Stay with us as the elite men contest the first round of the British Triathlon Super Series. Welcome back to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Research Blenheim Palace Triathlon. Now, the women's elite champion has already been crowned, so it's time now to find out which of the men will join India Lee at the top of the podium.
It's a man who came from a background of running and fell running, Mark Buckingham, who may well be favourite today after his previous successes. Had a very good run here in this event last year, so keep an eye out for him. But there are plenty of youngsters also. Chris Perham, we've got Matt Wright in there. Most of them come from Loughborough University under the guidance of Gavin Smith, who seems to be the coach of the moment. Iestyn Harritt, well, he was 4th last year, 3rd overall in the Super Series. He could be a man to watch as well.
I'm feeling really good, actually. I've had some really good training behind me in the last 5 weeks. And as you said, I came 4th here last year. I really like Blenheim. I like the different dynamics of the race, and hopefully I'll be able to reproduce the same result or better this year.
Well, he lost it on the run last year, and that's where Mark Buckingham is usually so strong. No Matt Sharp around, so that's why I feel he has to be favourite at the start. But of course, form is crucially important.
Yeah, I've had a real good start to the season compared to last year, which I started very poorly and sort of built through the year. This year I've sort of got off to a decent start, got a couple of good races under my belt, and that kind of takes pressure off a bit. Blenheim Palace, it's incredible. Like, obviously the home of Winston Churchill back in the day, and great surroundings. Blenheim's quite special because it is kind of like racing through the countryside a bit. As soon as you go out of transition, you've got rolling hills for quite a long time, and it's just really picturesque and nice.
It certainly is picturesque. Matt Wright there on the left of your picture, originally from Barbados, and Chris Perham was in there as well. Two men we will certainly expect to shine at some stage of this race. And so the elite men have had their briefing. Into the water they go. A very short warm-up before the start of the race. 750 metres of swimming, 20 kilometres on the bike, 5Ks running around the estate to claim the sprint title for 2015. Rogers featuring early in the swim along with Chris Perham. Well, it's not the quickest swim we've ever seen in Blenheim. Last year, some very rapid times, but by my reckoning, they're at least a minute slower than the swim time last year. And the fact that they're all together really indicating that no one has gone for broke on the first phase of this triathlon. And that makes T1 all the more important. You have to get into that leading group. Perham is there, Davis, Roberts, Dudley's done well. There's Chris Perham, tall figure, 6'3". And Davis just going through. Morgan Davis, that is, the son of Carl, who actually was an Olympic skier, represented Great Britain back in 1988. Iestyn Harritt going through. He's going to have to make sure he has a very fast transition. Lots of juniors here as well, and some of them really have shown good form in the water. Miles Burton's gone well. George Goodwin, good swim from him, one of the fastest out there. Mark Buckingham. Buckingham losing a bit of time in the water, I feel, and that's going to make life pretty hard out on the road. Now, with the group being so close together, I think they all will group up, but it's a question of how much work you have to do to reach T2, and those who are in the front group on the bike have got it easy. Chris Perham, Alistair Rogers, Morgan Davies are there. Well, this is a useful looking group, and they can make life pretty tough for the chase group, but the size of the chase group would indicate that they will make contact at some stage, so tactics have to be employed here, and they'll certainly be enjoying the fact that there are only 3 bikes. Well, here are the chase group. They need a grafter, or ideally they need to share the work rate up the front. Matt Wright doing his fair share. As I mentioned, he came from Barbados, made the move to Loughborough at the age of 18, and he's got stronger and better ever since then. so very interested to see how he gets on today. The lead group of three, Perham, Rogers, Davies, pushing hard, trying to hold that gap. But you can see in the background, when we get a long straight, you'll see the chasing group in numbers closing the gap down. Here are the chasers. There's Mark Buckingham. As I mentioned, a really good runner, but he wants to save his legs for the final stage. And still that group of three, give them credit, but you can see the margins now. A catch is inevitable. Morgan Davies with a long look over his shoulder, the 21-year-old from Porthcawl. Well, maybe the wise thing would be just to ease up, but he's gone for a little break, attempting to reach T2 first. Chris Perham digging deep, but Mark Buckingham now just a couple of metres behind him. And the leading three have had their efforts squashed by that chasing group. But the question really is who's got anything left in the legs, and it's two youngsters that have decided to make a break into T2. Macaulay Carline with the red shorts and George Goodwin there as well. Now, George Goodwin has produced the fastest time on the bike. Is that a mistake, or is he feeling very, very good? The camera attached to the saddle of Mark Buckingham, just giving you some idea of the rush into the second transition. This is by far and away the most important transition. The slipstreaming effect in the run, it's there, but it's minuscule compared to on the bike, and it's Macaulay Carline who's had a very good transition indeed. Earns himself some 20 metres over Goodwin in second place, but then come the speed merchants when it comes to running. Matt Wright, Chris Perham, both very quick. Morgan Davies is a slick runner as well. Nice pace being set. Now, if we were looking at World Cup level, we'd be looking at a sub 15-minute 5k, but I think realistically today, and given the tough course here at Blenheim, it's going to be somewhere around 17 minutes. There's Matt Wright, nearly packed in 2012 after a series of knee problems. Nice to see him here. And Burton, Miles Burton, another junior, absolutely flying on the roads at the moment. Slightly unusual technique. Wright looking focused. And tracked by Chris Perham and Morgan Davies, who've been working together, those three, all the way round. Mark Buckingham knows that he has some young blood that is going to be very difficult to beat today. Perham looks fluent over the ground. Well, this looks like a decisive break from these three. Morgan Davies leading as they come towards the finish. Matt Wright is still there. This would be a fantastic win for him, the man who represented Barbados in the Commonwealth Games last year. Davies starting to show signs of fatigue, and it's Chris Perham who hits the front with one more corner to go, and then it's into the home straight. Perham still looking fluent on those legs. Matt Wright perfectly positioned to make a challenge, but it's not coming, and it's Chris Perham who comes home to take the Blenheim Triathlon for 2015, his first senior race, and he makes it a victory. Excellent performance, great maturity. He has some future. Well, he made that look easy. Little disappointing that the challenge never materialised from Matt Wright, but there was no sprint left in his legs. And Mark Buckingham, pre-race favourite, on the podium in second place last year, finishes fourth this year. And a brilliant sprint finish from Harrod, but 57 seconds off the pace of race winner Chris Perham.
It's your first ever senior race and your first ever senior win. That is impressive.
Yeah, it was certainly an unexpected win with the likes of Mark Buckingham in the race. I was really hoping to get on the podium, but to win is just, I'm astonished. Yeah, I'm really happy with that.
And Matt Wright, a disappointing 53rd in Abu Dhabi at the beginning of the season. He's done something right since then.
I train with the two other guys on the podium day in, day out, you know, and I train with them, but I just have never really been able to put it into a race. And yeah, today it just kind of came together. Like, to be fair, the way I felt on the bike, I didn't expect to run like that, but I felt really good on the run, and I guess Chris just had a bit too much for me at the end.
And Morgan Davis from near Bridgend takes third today.
I knew the fitness was there. It was just whether my body could sort of hold together for the duration of the race, and I've surprised myself.
Mark Buckingham, 2 minutes slower than he was last year. Something's not quite right.
I've still tried to keep on top of my training this week, and maybe I should have just knocked it back a bit, but you know, you got to learn these things and you got to push these limits.
So Loughborough take a 1-2-3 with Perham, Wright and Davis. Impressive stuff from them. Buckingham, the veteran, down in 4th. Miles Burton, the junior, in 5th place. He's the best junior today. And Iestyn Harrod in 6th. Traditional celebrations on the podium. Victories, of course, for India Lee in the women's and Chris Perham in the men's. But what about the weekend warriors? The most triathlons completed over the 2 days was 8, and the 20 warriors between them completing 100 triathlons. And Victoria Hatcher did 4 of them.
I just can't believe it. I just keep thinking, oh my God, I did 2, and then, oh my God, I did 3, and oh my dear Lord, I've just done 4. But it's just been an absolutely incredible weekend.
Well, there's someone who enjoyed it. And Dave Nichols notching up number 6.
It's been brilliant. I've loved it. It was tough at times, but yeah, it's been very brilliant. And the whole event has been exceptional.
And Natasha Wilson completing 6 as well.
I feel quite fresh, actually. I don't feel tired or anything. I would quite happily go round again. I'm hoping to come back next year and hopefully get 7 or 8. I'd definitely say give it a go, especially if they're female. I'd like to see more females do it next year.
Well, let's hope that's the case. Adrian Fowler, one of the men that notched up 8 triathlons just as he did last year. And to think in 2012, he couldn't swim fast enough to do a super sprint.
Adrian, congratulations.
Thank you, Annie.
You finished 8th for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah. Well, it's been great. It's been a beautiful day as well, so it's been great to take part.
He's awesome. He's a really good runner.
Do you think he's a little bit crazy?
A bit.
2 years now on the trot, 8 races. Can we expect to see you back again next year?
I think so. Yeah, I would like to come. It's quite a unique event, and it's great to take part. I love it.
And it's no wonder that it sells out every year. Smiles all round the estate. A brilliant weekend had by all.
Oh, it was amazing. The cycle was the best part for me, and the swim was pretty tough as always, but it was really fun. It was awesome.
It's really a spectacular setting to be doing a triathlon.
Oh, it's wonderful. Really enjoyed it.
Beautiful, difficult, exhilarating.
Great fun. It's lovely. We've been trying to do it for years. Fabulous.
Well, if you're going to take on your first triathlon, you might as well do it in a stunning setting like this. Huge congratulations to all the first timers who picked up their finishers medal this weekend, and in fact congratulations to everyone who made it to the finish line, including those weekend warriors who did so several times over. India Lee and Christopher Perham, they take an early lead in the British Triathlon Super Series, but will they hold on to that lead? We'll find out as we move on to Tri Liverpool and then on to the world's largest swim bike run event, the London Triathlon, and we will see you there.